Alright, in this video we are going to create a plugin that will show a carousel in the page. So we are not going to use any pre-built plugin. We'll be creating a plugin from scratch. So the process is like you have to activate the plugin. Once you activate the plugin, you will see a custom post type, and you have to add these links. So it's a hard-coded link. You have to upload your files in the library and get the link and paste it over here. Once you update it, you need to create a page, and in the page you need to use this shortcode. Once you use this shortcode, you'll see this slider. So for the designing, what I have done is I have got into the W3 school, and this is the example of bootstrap carousel. So we'll be making this bootstrap carousel dynamic with WordPress. So I'm going to use this code and use this CDN into a plugin to make this carousel work. So for this, these are the hooks that we are going to use. These are the functions that we are going to use. These are some PHP functions that we are going to use. Along with that, we have explored some of the core files. So these functions are written in the core files, which is inside the WP includes, and some of them are inside WP admin. So without wasting time, let's get into the code. So the code is divided, the video is divided in such a way. First, we will be registering the custom post type. So this is registering the custom post type, and then we will be adding the meta box. Meta box is nothing but your custom field. So in WordPress core, it's called meta box. So we have added meta box input field, custom field input field, and then we'll see how to store our saved input field, and then we will output our HTML in the form of shortcode. So this is the HTML, and finally we'll be adding the styles and script for the plugin to work, so that we can see the carousel in the web page. So this is the topics that we are going to cover in this video. So the first thing, we need to create a folder. So in the plugin, I'll just create a folder, and let's just name it as carousel. And since the folder name is carousel, it's recommended. I have opened this in the Visual Studio Code. Let me close all, so that we are in the carousel. We need to create a new file with the same name as we have used it in the folder name. So it's recommended but not required. So this is the information about your carousel. Let's just name of the plugin as custom post type carousel. So this is the bare minimum required to show your carousel in this plugin page. So we should see CPT 3. Yes, we got CPT 3. Let me deactivate other, so that our code doesn't get collide. Let me activate this CPT. Since we have activated it, you don't see any changes here. Let me just deactivate it and register our plugin, or register custom post type. So for that, we will be using add action. So we want our function to get triggered in the init hook. So we can just give the name custom post type. So this is the function that will create the custom post type. So we need to register first, register post type. So it will ask for the name carousel v3. Let's just name it this way, and then what we need to do is we need to give information what all things that we need. So for the minimum requirement to create the this custom post type, what we'll do is we'll pass a array, and we want the label. So let's just name it as carousel itself, carousel 3. Avoid complication. And this is key value pair. We want the label to be carousel, and we want this post type to be true, so that we can access it from front end and back end. and what should it support. So to make this custom post type work, we need at least one data which is title. We need at least one input field which is title, or at least a custom post type won't work. So we have once we create a page, you will see this title is because of this support. So as I refresh, if there is no error, once we activate our plugin, we should see the custom post type on the sidebar. Yes, we got our custom post type. So by default, it's when I click on add post, we haven't added any meta boxes, in other words custom post type. Actually it should be supports. So you'll just see your there's line, since it should be an array. Now we just have our input field. Now we need to add our custom post type. So to create custom post type, what we need to do is we need to create a action, sorry, we need to attach a hook which is add underscore meta underscore boxes, not boxes, it's the boxes, it's the hook name, and add custom field. So this is a function that will be triggered when this hooks get activated. So what are the things we need? We need to, as we register a custom post type, we need to register our meta boxes. So to register meta boxes, we have add meta hyphen box. So this time it's singular. So this is the unique handle name, and this is going to be the group name of your input field, and this is a callback function, and this resembles your post type. And we are saying normal because we want our input field to be displayed over here, not on the sidebar. If you want side, you can click on, you can make this side. So once you add this, you should see a input field group with this name, which is carousel images. Since we have not created our callback function, it's throwing an error. Yep. Now in this custom field, we need to add input field value. So how are we going to add input fields? So we can echo, since it's PHP, let's create a paragraph tag, and inside the paragraph tag let's have our input. Since it's input, we need compulsory two variable, which is input type name, and another one is value. These two are required, or else it won't work, since we are saving our values into the database. Now let's just see, we have an input field and we have to style. We need to give width, so it's double bracket, not single bracket. Width 100%. Now you see a full width. Similarly, what happened when we save our data into the database and we want to show it over here? So in that case, what we'll do is we'll create a value 1, and we will be getting data from the database, which is in the table called post meta. So let me just get the value, get post meta. So we need to pass the ID, since this is your post. You will be creating a post and that will be stored into an ID, so we can access it with the help of post-id. By default, your callback has this post argument which we can access it. Now with this post, we need to get the ID, and these value which you are inserting, which will be stored into a key value pair. So the key is input 1, and since it's only one value, we need to pass true. If it is multiple value, like if you upload multiple images, it would be an array, so it is at that time it will be false. So likewise we need 4. I'm not using loop because I want to make this code clean and minimum where so that everyone can understand. So this, I'll just change all the input field name. You need to use this input field over here, or else let me just close all, and this is the input field. This is the key value pair which you will get in the data from the database. This is key, and we are storing it into this value, and this value we need to display it over here. And since we need to sanitize it with escape esc underscore attribute, and then we need to pass this value. Since we are going to pass the URL, it's required we are required to sanitize this. We have to concatenate it, and now we need to store a key value pair. So let's just name this same. So this is the column name that will be displayed in the database, and this is the input field that we will use to save this input field value. I'll just show you in a minute, don't get confused. So this is simple CRUD operation which we do regularly in PHP. So now I have changed all the values, so I'll show you in a minute. Once we save this column, this will be the column name, and if there is no error in the code, you will see this. Now along with that, we can have the name over here, image 1. So there is a label. It looks like a label, but it's actually not a label. Now we have to store this. So to store, what we need to do is, so before that, let me just show you where this you can get it from the post.php file, and this you can get it from the meta.php. So if you get into the includes for wp includes folder, you will find post.php, where you will see this register post type function defined. The same way, if you get into the meta.php, which is inside wp includes, you will get this meta box. So actually meta box will be inside wp admin, not in the wp includes. Wp admin, and you should find includes, and then there is a page of file.template where you will find this function defined. Now let's just store our values, and again this you can get it from post.php. This function get meta, get post meta. So when saving, what we'll do is we'll use this same function, but instead of get you will be using update. So update function is also defined over here, update post meta. Cool. Now let's just call another hook, which is save underscore post. So once you save CPT, and this function will be triggered, and over here you will get access to the post ID. So by default WordPress gives you access to the post ID. Since we are saving our data, that data will be stored in the table with the relevant ID. That ID you will get it. So the first thing that we need to do is, if we are going to see whether this value is set or not, is set, and we can access this with the help of post variable. By default WordPress makes your input field your form. Actually this will be surrounded into a form. This form will be sent in the form of post method. So $_post post. With this post method you can access this variable. Now if this is set, what we need to do is we have to update the input field column. So instead of get, it should be update, and we don't have to pass whether it's we are sending single value or multiple value, and this will be the column name. So likewise you have to do, I should have created it into a loop, but for better understanding and for having much clarity, it's recommended to have it without the loop so that everyone can understand smoothly. There is one more thing that you need to pass. This is key, and we need to pass the value as well. What will be the value? This will actually be the value. So instead of attribute, here we need to pass, since we are passing URL, we need to sanitize it with URL underscore raw. It's a PHP file. It's a PHP function. The value you'll get it in this post variable. The same way I have made changes for the input field 2, input field 3, input field 4. If everything goes right, we will see our column name. So let's just make this carousel 3, and we need to pass all the input field, first image, second image. Since this is episode number 5, I'm making this text box. Later on we'll see how to upload our image. So there is some problem, you can't see this, we are not able to see the input field. So let's see where we have made the mistake. So first of all, let's just see whether we are able to save our data in the post meta. What happens is your custom post type will be saved in the WP post table. What name we have given? We have given the name as carousel 3. So we have to search for carousel 3. So this is carousel 3, and the relevant post type that you should see is post name. Is carousel 3, and the post title is carousel 3, and this post type will have a relevant data on the WP post meta. Let's just check the ID first on the WP post, and then we'll find the relevant ID. Here is, seems like there are multiple post type, we should have named it differently, and this is a title, and it should be probably 68 in the WP meta. So WP post meta, we have saved our URL as, before that let me just make this 500 inp1. So there's a problem in registering itself, in creating itself. Let's check what's the issue. In case if you got doubt, this is the post type that we have created. You can get into the WP post and search for post type carousel 3. And this is the relevant post name. Registering is done, meta boxes are done, and then the data is in storage, so there is problem over here. This would be the problem. I think I got it. Since we get the post directly, there is no need to call. Let's just refresh this. So 2 or 3. Let me just update it. So once I click on update, yes, the data got retrieved. So similarly, if you get into WP post meta, you will see your input field name in the form of column name. So here this is the column name and this is the relevant values, and these are coming from the post type with ID 68. So in the post, the ID with 68 is actually this one. You can see in the URL as well. So everything is smooth as butter. So after that, what we need to do is we need to fetch. Now what we done is we have you created the CRUD operation. We have inserted the value and we have found the value in the database which is inside WP post meta. Now we need to fetch these value and display into the HTML. So for that we need to create a shortcode. So for shortcode, add underscore shortcode, we need to create our shortcode name. So we can give the name like v3, and the relevant function that need to be triggered when we call this shortcode, show HTML. It's recommended to give a descriptive name. I am creating this for the tutorial purpose, that's why I'm just giving whatever comes in my mind. Now we need to fetch the latest post. So to get the latest post, you need to use get post, and it's an array, and we need to send it into a key value pair. Now the post type is carousel 3. The number of posts I want is just one, and the post set is publish. Only get the published data, and instead of returning the whole object, I just need only only the IDs. So let's just store this into a variable. Since we need only one value, post underscore ID, we'll be just getting the ID because over here we have mentioned it. We just need the ID field only. So now with this, we have the latest post ID. Now we can create our HTML. We need to close the PHP because we'll be using output buffer start. So what we do is whatever you write inside this as an HTML will be stored into a temporary memory, and consider this as an HTML. This will be stored in a temporary memory, and we need to show it into the we need to show wherever this plugin is, wherever the shortcode is written. So we need to return, since we have stored the value in the output buffer. To get the value from the output buffer, we'll be using output buffer underscore get underscore clean. We are saying that clean the temporary memory which you have created. Now this is the place where you need to use our HTML. So the HTML that we are going to use is this one. Let me just copy only the HTML for now. It's just surrounded with a container. Now we need to we'll be keeping these as it is, so we need to change only these values. Since we have the ID, now what we need to do is we need to query the WP post meta. So we can query the WP post meta with this syntax. So to write you are writing PHP in HTML, we are first checking this is going to be the image1 value, img1, and this is the input field val, and we need to pass the post ID. That's the reason we have used the query. Now this value, if it's not empty, likewise you can get all the values, second, third, fourth, So in the next video we'll be using the loop php if and close the php. If there is input field, then only display it. And end if. There is a single column missing here. And what mistake are we doing now? Actually it's input field 1. Okay, no issues. We need to sanitize this. Escape UR. I'm sorry, it's my mistake. Instead of semicolon it's going to be colon. The same way you have to do this for the rest 3. Input field image2. We have the problem here, the if. This is actually a container and this should be surrounded in this way. And rest you can delete it. Now this looks clear. This is the first one. If there is second one, if there is third one, if there is fourth one, and that's done. Now the final thing, we need to enqueue our scripts. So to enqueue our script we need to use the hook called wp underscore scripts and add css is a function that will be called when this hook. We have linked our function to this hook and notice it's scripts and then wp underscore. I'll just explain because we have already covered this in the previous video. So wp enqueue style is for CSS, wp enqueue script is for JS. Now this is the handler that you need to give so that in case if there is a future dependency you can call this. The dependency is nothing but if you are writing a custom CSS just below here, let's say this is a custom CSS. So this custom CSS, here you will be passing a link. This custom CSS is depend on this. So this is how you will be writing. This custom CSS will depend on bootstrap CSS. So first you will write bootstrap and then you will use this handle to make dependency for this CSS. So I hope that's clear. The version is required for cache bursting, so I would recommend you to learn what is cache bursting. Cache bursting is nothing but once your CSS got loaded, it will be cached. In case if you have changed this CSS and since your plugin is already active, the cached CSS will load on your website. So to break it, what you'll do is you'll just change the version and now this new CSS will be loaded. The same way the handle is there for the JavaScript, the link we have added, and the version is again for the cache bursting, and this true is because we want to load our script to the footer of the website, on the footer of the website. That's the reason we have made it true, and again the dependency. So if everything is clear, we should see our carousel. So the shortcode that we have used is this one. If I save this and if I click on view pages, this is your carousel, and that works. In case if you want to change the width and height, I have in my practicing I have made this 600 and 300. You can make this 600 and 300. That would work. Let me just change all, and that's done. If I refresh it, you should see your carousel working with the help of the shortcode which you have mentioned over here. So this shortcode is available on the description area as well. so it's carousel 3. So use shortcode carousel 3 on our page so that you can get this carousel. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I have made this clear. I have shown where this function are coming from in the WordPress folder. These are the file names, and WP script and styles are coming from this function.wp-style, and we have covered this. This is for the attribute only, this is for the URL, and this is for the URL. We have seen this hook for initializing our custom post type. We have seen this to add custom field, and this is for saving your post values, custom field value into the post table, and the relevant key value pair that you can found in the WP post meta. And this is again the hook. These are the functions that we have seen, and the I have explained it clearly. I don't have to repeat it again. And that's all for this video. Get this one in the description. Thank you so much for listening.